You thought you were going to get a Christian to bite first, weren't you? Sorry. I have to take advantage of this opportunity while I have it. So, let's answer your question.
The question is, does God create people knowing they will go to hell? God creates people with a certain biological nature, knowing what choices they will make, and knowing that they will go to hell. God creates others knowing what choices they will make, and knowing that it will allow them to enter heaven based on those choices. If you believe in some sort of dualism or the soul influencing choice, this doesn't refute the argument, it just pushes it one step back. God created the soul's nature knowing what influence it would have on you, and knowing you would go to hell. Conclusion: God designed you destined to go to hell.
Welcome to the world of Calvinism, a theological system which has no qualms with saying that certain people are designed to go to heaven and certain people are designed to go to hell. And I'm going to take a quick peek at the Westminster Confession of Faith, which is kind of the de facto document for Calvinist doctrine. God from all eternity did, by the most wise and holy counsel of his own will, freely and unchangeably ordain whatsoever comes to pass. Yet so, as thereby neither is God the author of sin, nor is violence offered to the will of the creatures, nor is the liberty or contingency of second causes taken away, but rather established. Although God knows whatsoever may or can come to pass upon all supposed conditions, yet he has not decreed anything because he foresaw it as future, or as that which would come to pass upon such conditions. By the decree of God for the manifestation of his glory, some men and angels are predestinated unto everlasting life, and others foreordained to everlasting death. These angels and men, thus predestinated and foreordained, are particularly and unchangeably designed, and their number so certain and definite, that it cannot be either increased or diminished. Those of mankind that are predestinated unto life, God, before the foundation of the world was laid, according to his eternal and immutable purpose, and the secret counsel and good pleasure of his own will, has chosen in Christ unto everlasting glory out of his mere free grace and love, without any foresight of faith, or good works, or perseverance in either of them, or any other thing in the creature as conditions, or causes moving him thereunto, and all to the praise of his glorious grace. As God has appointed the elect unto glory, so has he, by the eternal and most free purpose of his will, foreordained all the means thereunto. Wherefore, they who are elected, being fallen in Adam, are redeemed by Christ, are effectually called unto faith in Christ by his Spirit working in due season, are justified, adopted, sanctified, and kept by his power through faith unto salvation. Neither are any other redeemed by Christ, effectually called, justified, adopted, sanctified, and saved, but the elect only. The rest of mankind God was pleased, according to the unsearchable counsel of his own will, whereby he extends or withholds mercy as he pleases, for the glory of his sovereign power over his creatures, to pass by, and to ordain them to dishonor and wrath for their sin, to the praise of his glorious justice. The doctrine of this high mystery of predestination is to be handled with special prudence and care, that men, attending the will of God revealed in his word, and yielding obedience thereunto, may, from the certainty of their effectual vocation, be assured of their eternal election. So shall this doctrine afford matter of praise, reverence, and admiration of God, and of humility, diligence, and abundant consolation to all that sincerely obey the gospel. So, as you can see after reading this document, that anyone who confesses this article of faith as the truth should have no qualms with admitting that God designs certain people to go to heaven and designs certain people to go to hell. And yet there are certain popular Calvinist theologians that are a little squeamish when it comes to that. John MacArthur and R.C. Sproul come to mind. They'll give the analogy that everyone's going to hell anyway, and God decides to rescue some people and then just leaves the rest. But the article is pretty clear that God is active in decreeing, foreordaining, predestinating people to go to heaven, and he's just as active in doing the exact same thing in sending people to hell. That's sometimes called consistent Calvinism.
Oh, and by the way, if God creates everyone with the same level of free will, what causes some people to make different choices? Could it be that we are all different and unique, and God actually made us this way? Unique meaning some destined for hell and some not.
To answer your other question about free will, here's where this confession of faith becomes a confession of faith. Because at the very beginning, it makes a statement which, on objective observation, doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Because it says that God from all eternity did by the most wise and holy counsel of his own will freely and unchangeably ordain whatsoever comes to pass. Yet he does so in a way that he's not the author of sin, nor is violence offered to the will of the creatures. Excuse me, how can he unchangeably decree everything which comes to pass without doing that? I think that when taking the tenets of this particular chapter of the Confession of Faith to their logical conclusions, you have a scenario where God forced Adam and Eve to fall in the Garden of Eden, forces people to commit sin, forces people to reject Jesus Christ, and forces them into hell, and then punishes people for the things that he forced them to commit because he likes it.